CPA, did some other certifications, and I found myself in a meeting with a number of general managers. First meeting with that company, and I was excited to talk about operational strategies and ways that we can have the things, the tools that were working for one general manager and how we can implement those for some of the other ones. And what ended up happening is that we ended up spending 3 to 6 hours that day talking about miscoding. So one GM said, AP messed this one up, your guy coded your time to my job, I messed that one up, our guys missed their time, and it was just 3 to 6 hours of bad data. And it became clear to me that that was a part of the culture. That was just what they did. They just kind of accepted these processes, and that bad data was going to happen. And there's not much you can do about it except review it and then fix it. And it dawned on me that that didn't seem great, but I didn't know that data quality was a thing. I just knew this doesn't sound right. There's got to be a better way. So then, thus began my unofficial journey into the world of data quality. So fast forward to today. I run a team of consultants. We focus on the Vista system. Really do anything Vista related, integrations, customizations, reporting, all that sort of thing. And we have what we call a data quality first approach. So if someone comes to us and says, we want to do a report, want to integrate, want to customize something, then we are going to insist on being a part of the data quality assurance for that project. So for example, if the output for that project or that report depends on certain inputs, then we will not prepare that output or finalize it or agree to build it unless we are assured that we can help them make sure the inputs are going to be good. So it's an absolutely fundamental part of what we do, and I enjoy it. It's going well so far. By show of hands, who here is where I was about 12 years ago? Didn't really know that data quality is a thing. You just kind of have a sense that there's bad data, but aren't really aware of this whole concept of data quality. Just raise it. Show of hands here. Everyone else is a data quality expert. This is fantastic. So, leaning on you for a lot of this. That's great. Very simply, there's a standard definition of what data quality is. Data management book of knowledge. If you really want to dive into the details, there's a massive handbook, and there's many other handbooks and frameworks that you can rely on. And this can be distilled into one key concept, and that is the end user. Okay. So there's decisions around what data, how to define what data needs to be done for what purpose, but ultimately it's the end user's needs that dictate what good data quality is, what good data is. So let's go through a few of these data quality elements. There is, like I said, a data management book of knowledge that is quite comprehensive, but the intuition of this can be distilled to a few main points. Can you trust it? Is it useful? Is it there when you need it? And is there a better way to get the data? Who here has ever been sitting in a room, looking at a report, and thought to yourself, that's just not I think I saw every hand go up there. So you can't trust the data. So how do we get to the point where we can trust the data? You don't need to memorize these, but it's just when you go through that question, the first thought is, it just doesn't seem right. Well, let's break that down a little bit more. So what does that mean it's not right? So a pay stub, for example. The information on that pay stub is incorrect, and so something down the line was flawed. And so you see that, and you just know you can't trust it. Integrity. I'll give you an example here. So you might have a data integration that happens where you bring over jobs and POs and subcontract information from one system to another. The data migration developer says all of that information is over. There's 1,000 jobs over here, 10,000 POs, 10,000 subcontracts, and they all came over, so I'm good. But they need to be integrated. Your POs need to tie to your AP, and your subcontracts, all that has to tie together, and so it might be complete data, but it's not integrated the way that you need it. And so how do you know that? Well, the end user is the one who's going to take the accounts payable invoice and tie it to the PO, or run a subcontract reports and see what the committed costs are on that report. And if they run that report and they don't see the AP tied to it, it doesn't work for their purposes. So again, who is the end user? What are they using it for? That is the definition of good data, and those are some examples of how you can come to know whether you can trust the data. Any questions on this so far? Thoughts, comments, criticisms, insults? So the next one is it useful? So there's, let's talk about relevance for a minute. So you have a PM dashboard and you have all company information there. And you don't have the ability to break it down by project manager. And you're a project manager. Is that useful to you? Not really. So the way that data's been constructed, the level of granularity they have available to you, not super useful. Clarity is a good one. One I like there is a decision is made around the what signifies a unique job. And you have the ability in some systems to say 1, 2, 3, 4 dot is a job, and 1, 2, 3, 4 is a job. So that works. Right? Not very clear though. So decisions around just like the structure of the data, how you decide how to organize that is going to lend to the clarity of that information. Is it there when you need it? So you need to have a report that shows you, for example, your profitability every week. How do I get a report that shows the profitability by week if time cards are done every 2 weeks? So you then be relying on that underlying business process and workflow so you can provide that data. And accessibility, can you get the data? It might be somewhere that exists, but you can access it. So a good example there is a data warehouse. Might be created, and it works, and it's great, and it ties out, but only certain people have been given access to it for whatever reason. And is there a better way? There's, we know, I don't know what system everyone's on, but we're on we use the business system quite a bit, and you can bring data over. Let's say that you decide to take every single piece of information from the old system, bring it over to the new one, and then you have a bit of a performance issue on that system, right? Did you really need to bring all that data over? Is it useful? Is it relevant? Does it add to the trust that you have in that system? And if not, maybe you shouldn't have brought that over. So there's decisions that need to be made around system performance and cost that lend to help you make a better decision. So why does data quality matter? A report a couple years ago came out by Autodesk that said that there was about $1.8 trillion lost due to bad data. That's a big number to me. So to me, that's pretty important. That's on a global scale. That's doesn't really affect you guys individually, but you know that overall this is a big issue. So it's most certainly in some way impacting you guys in your organization. So this data is the new oil. I'll touch on that one briefly. This is a concept that has been touted for years and years. Most people will take away from that data, it's like oil, it's gushing. We have this asset that we can use if we harness it. But one of the key points that doesn't often get mentioned there is that it's useless when it's in the ground. Oil in the ground is useless. It needs to come up, be refined, be transformed into a specific useful purpose for the end user. And that's the same with data. Okay, so those are the general what, how, and why. I want to add one more piece to the why, and I have a bit of a confession to make as well. I skipped the keynote this morning, and part of the reason is that I was watching the OpenAI keynote, which was live session, and if anyone knows OpenAI, they've got ChatGPT, and they had this brand new announcement today to talk about all the amazing things that they're releasing. They had this multimodal API access, they have GPTs, you can build specific GPTs to do different things, and we're using this quite a bit in the development work that we do. If you're interested, let me know and I'll show you some of that stuff. But right now, we have a unique once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where the value that we can derive from our data, if it's good, is something we've never seen before. So what I like to have, what you walk away from this with is that data quality, it's important. It has an impact on you and your business. There is something that you can do about it. And I want to talk with you about some ways, some strategies that we can employ to make this work for you. So one here that I'll harp on just a little bit is clarifying the value proposition. There's a resistance to change. Has anyone ever seen resistance to change when you try to implement it? People don't just open their arms and say, come on, just let me change, I love it. Whatever you want, not quite. So I'll give you an example that came up recently where a report, wanted to have a report that showed them whether or not they were billing subcontractors more than they were completing. Right? And so you're paying your subs too much. You're paying them 60% and they've only done 20% of the work. And so you can tell the project managers this is an issue. They can try to convince you that they're going to look at it and see what they can do. Or you can use the system to enter in things like progress entries. You can then compare those to what's been billed out. And the added benefit is now the workers, the project managers, can see in real time, daily or weekly, they can see how they're performing on that job. So what we do in that case is clarifying the value proposition is we could show management, here's the Power BI dashboard we can build for you. It's going to show you your daily, weekly profitability. It doesn't work, but it would work if you did this. So is the juice worth the squeeze? Show them the juice, and then you tell them, here's what you guys have to do to make that work. That approach works a lot better sometimes than just saying, hey, this is something we're not doing, we got to do it, get better, and so on. The other thing to add in there is the incentive and disincentive. And so you can build tools where you can not only ensure that those projects have been completed, but you can see if they've been done accurately. So at the end of the month, you compare your progress bills to the entries, and you see if someone said that they were doing 1 unit every day for 30 days, and then it comes billing time, and they can only bill out 10 units because that's all that's been approved, well, someone's being a little bit optimistic about what they complete on that daily basis. Okay. Whose responsibility is data quality?
Everybody's.
I heard it. Everyone. Everyone has a different role. They're either responsible, they're accountable, or they're consulted, or they're informed. And what we often find is that the people who are responsible for it are trying to make decisions around what data needs to be brought over. And they're not doing the necessary consulting, or they're not doing it in the right way. They're not focusing on what the needs of the end users are. Let's talk through some of those examples, and we can draw on your own personal experience. And if we do it right, we'll solve some problems here for you. In this example, we have a system conversion. We need to make decisions about what data needs to be brought over from old system to new system. There's a whole bunch of data points we can bring over, but you guys can pick any one of these, any aspect of one of these different modules, let's say, and we need to make a decision about what to bring over. Anyone want to volunteer a question related to any of this? Fair enough. I have one ready. So we'll do it together. We have to decide what jobs do I bring over from the old system to the new. Okay, any takers? What? You need to somehow describe the jobs that need to be brought over. What are the characteristics of those jobs that you're going to decide need to be brought over to the new system?
They're not completed.
Yes.
The dates of them. Like when they started and ended.
Start and end date. Okay, start and end date. So we're going to go live, let's say this year, December 31st, or Jan 1, 2024, let's say, we go live. So jobs that are ending.
Well, still in progress. Yeah, they're not completed.
Not completed, okay. This is where it gets a little bit more fun. We get to define completed. What's completed?
Is there retention left? Is there punch list items?
Retention. So we have retention on the AR side and the AP side, and if those need to be adjusted, so you build the customer $1 million, you're like, I want to pay you $900. Now you got to adjust that. Sorry?
I would think that you look at if it's a soft, if you're a business, if it's a soft close or hard job, closed job. If it's hard close, then it's that for most people means it's done.
It's done.
Even if it's soft close, you'd still have to bring it over because there can still be APs over.
So this is perfect. Now Vista allows you a soft close and hard close job if there's outstanding AR and AP. And so you could internally have a business process where your expectation is that you don't do that, but the system will allow it. And so we couldn't therefore look at the list of hard close jobs and say those are going to not have AP and R because the system doesn't make that a restriction. But we could add that to the definition, saying we need to look at the jobs that have no AR, no AP, and those are the ones that we're going to include. Could do. What about warranty? Oh, sorry.
I would say to quote your previous point, it depends on your value proposition. So if you want to analyze your historical data, and you want to learn from your previous projects, then you might want to bring in the historic data. If you want to learn what your current projects are doing, how they are currently basically, where they're standing at, then you want to bring those over too. But I think these are two really different value propositions, because one is aiming at real-time tracking, the other one is basically based on data analytics insight based on these historic data classes.
I love it. And so the way you find that out is that you are consulted in this discussion around what jobs should we bring over, and you come to the table and you say, I run this report. It has job data for the last 10 years. I look at the historical trend and I look at PMs over time, and I want to be able to continue to do that analysis. So you do have options. Not all of that data needs to necessarily come over. You could take the old system, you do a snapshot, you bring a piece of that data in. There's different things you can do, but the definition of whether or not the data set is good is going to be if they can address that need that you have. Absolutely. Any other points on? Yes.
So we just had this. What do you do if the data in the original system isn't correct?
That never happens. Data in the original system is not correct. What's an example of incorrect data?
We did it for CRM, so we moved it from one CRM to another, and people thought the first CRM was the end all be all, right? And it wasn't.
Okay.
And so then it's just a matter of we brought it over and didn't realize it wasn't as clean as it should have been, and now we're fixing it.
Okay. So can we break that down a little more into the definition of correct? I can go with you on this. I can give you some
like
examples.
job descriptions work, right?
Okay.
Data construction, total contract, how many RFIs, change, just individual data, just this is not there.
So for example, the CRM data was going to have all these data points, and it didn't tie to what you use. Vista is your system, or?
No, we use Microsoft Dynamics.
CRM Dynamics. So then you have your CRM information does not tie to the project information in Dynamics.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that
it's
right?
even better when the project that came from Essential into the CRM had an old Vista number that we reused. So it's so
Perfect.
then that has new data and old data
Yeah.
on the same record. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I would certainly step back from converting that data
Yeah.
until you corrected it.
Right.
And so there's an integration problem. You have data from one system, your dynamic system doesn't tie to the CRM.
Right.
So I would not quite go from that CRM to a new CRM until you fix that data first, right? Or if it's that bad, you cut that off. You say, well, we have all that CRM data in Dynamics anyway. Let's pull all that data over. Then we can, I don't know how much information you have in the CRM, but then you could just move from Dynamics into the new CRM and pull over whatever useful information from the trashy CRM, and we'll pull that into the new one.
Yeah.
But certainly I would not quite do the conversion yet until you had done those validation procedures on the original data.
That's what it's
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the definition of the jobs that we need to bring over from one system to the next? Because we've done really good. I want to add another one that is, a WIP report, for example. This is common, very similar to the example that you raised, is that we might have jobs that are closed, have no AP, no AR, no retention, no warranty expected, and yet they are needed to be on that job for historical WIP reporting, right? And so the idea here is that for all of these pieces, it is tempting to come up with an arbitrary definition with the thought that, hey, that sounds like maybe that's a job that we don't need. It is very tempting to say X years of data or X data point, but it really is a matter of consulting the people who are going to be using that data. Okay. Should we do one more of these? No. We'll move on. Mike. So is the data data relevant? Is it valid? Is it complete? All of the things we've gone through. Relevance is, so a little bit more about my background. So I started with from the CPA route, and if you guys know, CPA has this gap thing, right? And they have assertions, they have existence and completeness, and all those types of things, right? And that's what I drew on quite a bit when I was starting my data quality journey. So I would look at existence and completeness. So to talk about that, for example, if you have information from one system and you bring that over into this one, and you make sure that every data point from this one is in this one, it's complete. But when you brought it over, you hit the button twice, and now you got twice that data there, right? So it's complete, but the doubling of it is an existence problem. So now those don't actually exist. You kind of messed that up. So you need to, in that case, that could be similar to relevance, where you brought over too much data and it's not relevant for the needs of the end users. This RASI matrix. The big one to focus on here is the consultant part. You've got the responsible team. They do have responsibilities for understanding how to ask the right questions. The right question is not, hey, what data do you want to bring over? The right question is, show me that you've consulted all the right people, you've compiled the list of the reports and the different things that you need, so I can be assured that once we bring this data over, everyone that's going to consume this data has what they need. So that's the question that should be coming from the data migration and project manager team. The department leads have that responsibility of compiling that data. They need to sign off and say, this is the list of all the reports that we need, how we're going to use that data, and if you can satisfy these objectives, once we've migrated over, then you've done a good job.